Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to add a pocket to a journal cover made from bubble wraps and linen pens. I have made a few of this cover and I feel it's a bit too plain. I want to add something on it. So I come up with an idea to make a pocket and then add the pocket to the cover. And at the same time, I want to talk about my journey of crafting. I have been painting and drawing when I'm very young. It's kind of like a natural talent that my mom passed to me. So when I old enough to hold pens, I can draw and I can paint pretty well. No one teach me. I never go to any professional training, but I can draw really well, and I have feel of a wall when I go to school. But this drawing and painting kind of like stopped when I go to university because life is busy. I was constantly in relationships and that takes a lot of time. And my interest and hobby has been shifting. And then after the university bachelor degree, I go to Australia to study master degree, and it's a double degree, so it's quite intense. And at the same time, I do part-time job and kind of like prepare for my future application of permanent residence. So like during that time, as I have no time to even listen to music, so let alone have any time for painting and drawing. But it's kind of like after I started my full-time job, I finally have time to doodling and drawing and kind of like pick up my art instance. But again, it stopped when I have my baby 5 years ago. And since I have my daughter, I really have time to sit down and do quiet things, because drawing and painting really require no distraction. So I haven't done that for a long time. But I took up sewing and later journal, because one day I think is when my daughter is kind of like approaching 3 years old, she started doing a bit of more interesting interacting craft, like cutting, pasting, doodling, drawing, painting, that kind of thing. And I saw a listing in marketplace in Facebook. Someone gave away a small batch of scraps, and I thought, I can use that material to cut and paste with my daughter, because all the fiber is quite cute. So I went there, and the ladies give me at the end, give me almost 10 garbage bags of fibers. It's not just the scraps, but meters and meters of fibers. I took them because at that time I have no idea, the concept of amounts of fiber. I thought, I take it home and I can give some to the school, give some to other friend, etc. So I took it home and I start sorting, and I thought, wow, that's a lot of fibers. So I give away here and there, and I keep the stuff that I really like, those colorful one, and because there's too many, instead of apart from cut and paste this children's craft, I start picking up a few scraps and use needle and thread to sew them together. At that time, my hand sewing is really bad. How bad it is? I sew kind of like a lap size patchwork blanket cover, and then all the stitches come off. So it's pretty useless. And I realized it's not just like stitching them together. I really need to work on it. So I spent a lot of time making things by hand stitches, EPP, applicate, learning all sort of technique, embroidery, and like slowly my hand stitchings became better, and I start posting my creation in the Australian local sewing group. I didn't expect people liked it, but people do like them. And a lady live in North Shore. She contacted me one day saying one of neighbor is giving away her sewing machine because she doesn't sew anymore. It's an old machine, but it's still working. And she asked me if I'm interested. I thought, I don't know how to machine, so I never sew any clothes. I never touched the sewing machine. My mom have a really old manual Singer machines. I remember she's sewing on the machines for long, like a lot of days, and she help people to alternate clothes, etc. But myself, I never do anything on the machine. I have no interest in it. I don't have the patience to learn. But my mom urged me to pick that up because she thought it's handy to have a machine to mend clothes, because I have very active kids. The clothes is always need mending anyway. So I tried it, pick up the machine and testing at home, and it worked really well. I still using them a lot, like daily. So since I pick up the machine, I start learning how to sew by machine. I make bags and pouches, as all sort of things that you can imagine. And slowly I built up the confidence to make clothes, all the sleepwear for my family, things that no one need to see outside the house. So even you sew them pretty bad, you still can wear them. So I sew a lot, but mostly it's self draft. There's no patterns, just putting things together. But slowly I feel that I need more like improvement on making clothes, and then I learning how to use pattern and even how to draw a pattern. So I pick up this bit by bit along my journey to sewing better. I still sew a lot. I do mending on the machine as well. But somehow the hour doesn't allow me to do many, because by using the machine I'm usually used in daytime, but in daytime I at work. So kind of like I have to squeeze time here and there on a weekend, holiday, and I always got interact. And also the machine sewing doesn't give me the peace and joy that I took on hand sewing at the beginning. It just, I do make a lot of things, but I don't have that joy of present at the moment and be really calm and without any rush. Because when I working on the machines, I really aim to produce more stuff. For example, like my aim is to make 10 bags for charity. That I really driving to make that 10 bags as soon as possible. But when I do hand sewing, because no one expect me do any hand sewing products, so I'm not in rush. I just do things whenever I have time, here and there, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, doesn't matter. I'm not aiming to produce anything. Um, Slowly I'm returning back to hand sewing. Most of time I do that at night. Sometimes I do it on a weekend in daytime. But I really prefer the time to do it at night when it's quiet, when my daughter go to sleep, when I'm alone in the room without any interruptions. I'm able to work in absolutely quietness. I don't even watch my phone. I don't touch my phone during that 1 or 2 hours. So I do this every day. It's like a daily routine. Even I'm traveling, I still bring along my stuff. So this sewing helps me to explore the colors, texture, different stitches, and I kind of like I learn a lot of stuff, complicated and ordinary and simple running stitch, everything, every technique. Trust me, I have learned. But during this exploration, and I kind of like I can find what I'm passionate with and what I'm good at. And I find that I'm really good at applique. I'm good at doing straight structural running stitches. I really love those simple running stitches. It comes with different name in different culture, Canva, Kavanti, Sashiko, Boro, like anything. It's just straight stitches in all sort of variations, but I love doing this. This simpleness doesn't require much thinking. You just build up your muscle memory and just go on and on. I really enjoy that, and I also find that I'm really good at using small scraps, especially the teeny tiny one that no one want to use, because I have the patience, I have the technique to do that. And I also love different color, different texture mixed together. So combined with patchworks and hand creating straight stitches, I kind of like make the stuff that I like and have my kind of like signature style. And I don't care whether people like it or not. I just love doing this one by one, again, a daily. Like I just love doing that, and I feel that that's enough. Yeah, maybe there's more fancy stitches, but I at the moment I enjoy doing that. So that is my style. And while I doing all the hand stitching things, I come up material that not very suitable to be hand sewing. It's a bit tricky to do. Is fiber with sequins, fiber with fern, lace, trims is too bulky, all sort of things that this still things that not perfect to be used in sewing, but they are perfect to be used in other projects like paper craft. I start making paper craft because I have too many books and magazines. I am an active reader for many years. I read a lot from since I'm a child. Like, because my father is a reporter, writer, editor. So I grew up in that environment that I was surrounded by books instead of toys. So books are friends to me, company to me, other toys to me. Like this is my entertainment. So I read a lot since I start, reading. So I also have a bit of passion to collect secondhand book, old books, especially books that with really nice picture. Because I draw and paint, I also love pictures. So I love children's book. I like any books about nature. After I got my full-time job, I have the money, I have the time, and I've been collect quite a lot online and from book fair. So these books are valuable and quite sentimental to me. And I also love reading magazine. I have heaps of magazines in like National Geography, Australian Geography, that kind of stuff. So before I decluttering my books, I have 9 full bookcase. Like 60% is in English, like 20% is children's book, and then 20% is books in Chinese and Japanese. So but because I have a lot, it take a lot of space. It's not a problem until I have my babies. Her toys and books and bits and pieces took up space. It became a fighting that every inches are meant to be used by either her or me. And of course, as a responsible mother, I give up. I give up because I know children need space to grow, and I don't have time to, sort and organize my stuff anymore. And when I approaching 40, I realized time is limits. I probably don't have the time left to read all the books or read the books. Regardless how much I love them, one day I need to part with them, and I don't want to burden my child that she had to take care and deal with my books. And I can't imagine that book was thrown out as rubbish. I just couldn't accept that. So I thought, instead of like being to landfill or burden my child to clean that, I can give it to people that they read it. So books are only has value when people read that. So if they're not read, it's sad truth that they're just rubbish taking space. As I start changing my mindsets and let go. So once let go, that I found that it's much easier. I'm surprised to find out people in Australia, there's some Australian people can read Chinese. They learn Chinese. They want books to read, and it's hard to find. And my books help them to learn, explore. I also give away a lot of children's book, because my child, even I love those books, I love the pictures, my child have zero interest in them. So what's the point? So slowly I sort it out, I decluttering. So now I have like keep half of the book, I still half of the book. I have a full bookcase of books in Japanese. I moved almost all my Chinese book to my parents' house, because they read Chinese. My child doesn't read Chinese. I keep a lot of English book, and I still have 2 bookcases of children's book. I love children's book, and I hope my child one day can appreciate that. But the things that I need to work on is the magazine. I have a full bookshelves of National Geography from the first issue to 2023 something. So you can imagine how many magazines that I have. I give all my Australian geography away because I found that the nature theme magazine are too many. I just don't have the time to read them, every issue, every magazine. While I clean that, decluttering that, there's still left. So I start picking a few books that I least like, or I dare to I tear cuts and try to make collage. And if you see some of my early video, there's some silly books. you know, things that I try but not in very professional nice shape, but it's an inspiration. It's something that I try, and the more I did that, the more I found I like it. I'm really good at it. And I think of the childhood that I can spend a lot of time cutting and placing things. I this is like a childhood dreams to come true. I'm doing the things that I enjoy when I'm a child. So I kind of like combine my hand sewing, paper craft, drawing, painting, all those arts instant together to make things. And I think I'm not the best, of course, but I'm 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 very like passionate to explore mixed media, and I'm constantly learning. So the more I make, the more that I feel that there's more to learn, and the learning process is really fun. So I can see myself slowly involves with style, with color instant. I can see all my past like a separate dots coming together. It became a line or something with shape, and I feel that I have a like meaning of purpose of life that I can keep exploring, learning, and sharing things. um, uh, Most of you may know that once I make the stuff, I give them away for free, because the things that I want is the process of making, creating, not the final products. So I'm able to keep making and exploring, and because I'm not selling, there's no pressure for me to aim for perfections. So if I failed in something, and that's fine, I move on and make some other stuff. So you can see my things is quite involving, something that you probably feel that's not nice, but to me is every trying is experiments. And recently I start making a stitching journal, because in the past I mostly do sewing for producing something practical, like making a small pouch, making bags, making scrunchies, earring, some fiber jewelry, all the small gift. I've been using my sewing as making something practical. But now I don't know. I want to do something not practical, that have no practical meaning. No, because I found people don't want bags, and when I put my creation away for free in the basket, always the junk journal is the first one to be picked up. So I can see people like my papery creation more than my fiber creations. I don't know. Maybe that's just my guess. Maybe papery stuff is more accessible, that people can learn and practice more easily. While fiber, you probably need some special tools like needles, threads that not every household have. But scissor, glue, and papers are really more common. And the journal, people can flip through journal, even they don't write on it, they can get some inspiration. I know a lot of students, there's a high school and public school student like walk past, they took the journal, and there's something maybe sparkle their curiosity, their like imaginations, I don't know. But the junk journal as the number one popular item. So I start thinking maybe I can combine my stitchings like a journal in book forms. I can add some my stitching stuff to the pages. But yeah, it's quite nice. But instead of putting my slow stitching here and there, I also want to do like a stitching book, stitching journal, just with fibers or some beads and sequin, that kind of stuff, because that's, you know, the feeling of touching the soft stitching journal are quite amazing. So I want people have different sensory touching and needs from the book. And I don't know, yeah. And I also really enjoy the slow stitchings. So between making journal, so every night I'm able to work on something. So it's became a routine that I've been stitching something, and yeah, it slowly became more and more, and I think, oh, I can make it into a book. So stay tuned for stitching book, but it take a while because stitching is, yeah, slow. Yeah, I don't know what I will become, or I, because I know that I'm being like evolving, changing. Maybe in the future I don't like making journal anymore. Maybe I don't like stitching anymore. Maybe mentally and physically I will change. But though that curiosity, that passions of creating, I know that it will never die. Because from my early childhood to now, I'm able to create. It come in different forms. It come with different tools. It's never, so I feel that it's never really hard for people to try creativity, creating process. There's many ways to be creative, not just arts, but you can explore music, dancing, moving your body, running, and doing some gardening, arranging flower, or recycling, and collecting rubbish from the beach and sorting those rubbish. You know, every forms that involves your mind, your imagination. I think that is creativity. So I feel that any creativity in any form can help people to have better mental health. I am a person have like not really stable mental, like I'm very emotional. I'm very emotional people that I sometimes I can't control myself. That's yeah. But this creativity process helped me to calm down, and instead of like talking, arguing, fighting, and trying to make things perfect, I'm able to step back, immerse myself in quietness, and think. I need to rethink and reflect the things that I done every day, the words that I say, you know, things that I may feel regrets, things that I could improve. All these things, it can slowly be organized in my mind when I do the stitching or journal. That's why I always recommend people to try and creative process in any ways. And I feel I've been talking to many people. I feel that nowadays in this like nowadays in most of the country, what people needs are not just money. I know a lot of people living in property, people do need money, but for majority of people, especially people living in Western country, they don't lack of money. I think money became a problem that to push them to spend more irrationally and spend the money without any consequence. So that's why we have the problem of rubbish, consumerism, overspending, that kind of stuff. So if we can step back, focus on our inner self and be more creative using the materials in everyday life, maybe we can be happier. I don't know. Because I know spending money and acquiring things is definitely not the best way to be happy. It can be a way to get excited, but not the way to be happy. But happiness is what people need nowadays. And a lot of people around me are more rich to me, like they have more money than me. A lot of people have better job than me, better car, boat, house, everything, but they're not as happy as me. It may be too arrogant to say that, but I think I'm a really happy person because I don't need to see things from outside, but I see things from inside, and I'm able to give away. And I don't need things anymore. I don't need more stuff. I don't need more money. I'm not greedy. So so I hope my crafting journey can give you some inspirations. Who knows, in the past 5 years that I evolved from zero experience of sewing and to nowadays that I can even hand sew a clothes, and from only acquiring books and magazine and read to people that take apart the books and magazine and cut it up and make journal. Can you imagine what's the change? Anyway, that's most exciting things that people can change. That's a good thing. I hope you get some inspirations, and I will keep making, and I'm sure that I will make more video. I hope you will get annoyed because I really want to share my crafting process. Talking back to the things that I'm making, attaching the pocket to the journal cover. You can see me using needle and thread to sew on the cover, but at the back you won't see any stitches to sew through. So this is another example of how I use hand sewing in paper craft. Those needle and threads by hands are very, very flexible, and I can manipulate the stitches and let them not sew through the back, the sides, and it's much better than any tool. And I feel that human hands are the most powerful tool. I always tell people that use your hand because your hand is the most powerful tool. You don't need fancy tool. You don't need like expensive machine to start crafting. You can just use hands and use whatever you have. Now I have 3 sewing machine, all given to me for free. So I use 2 machines for sewing in using different color in thread, so that I don't need to change the threads. And I divide my time. So in daytime or in the weekend, that I usually sewing for charity. I make bags and all sort of stuff that request from charity. But at night time I only do hand sewing. So between those that like in holidays or in the afternoon before I pick up my kids, if I have time, I make some journal pages in decorations. And once I build up the stash, I I write them into a journal and I share with you with some flip through. So that's how I divide my time and in different tasks. So I'm still able to do a lot of things. It just with different priorities, and the priority always changes. Yeah, so that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Next time I will talk more about my thoughts in crafting and life. If you're interested in this type of topics, you can leave me a comment. If you don't like my mumbo jumbo, you can also leave me comments. So yeah, so I see you next time. Bye.